Hello and welcome to pmclounge.com. Today, the topic of this video, I'm pretty sure all of you are going to find it equally interesting. The 5 factors of project success, the top 5 factors that we feel determine the success of your project. Now, you might be wondering, why do you want to kind of know these factors? Well, if you have just delivered a project, how do you know if your project was a success, right? You may receive, appreciation emails from all over the place, but how do you know if the project was a success? The reason for this is very, very simple. If you scale or measure your project, the project that you have delivered, against these factors, you have a position to make, a position to portray in front of all of your stakeholders that these were the factors that we have measured our project against, and we have performed extremely well on these factors. And that is the reason why I am deserving of all these appreciation emails, or that is the reason why all of us as a project team should celebrate because this project has been a success. So it is important to know these factors so that you can measure your project against these factors and make sure that the projects you deliver are definitely successful. Now, number one is schedule. The first factor of project success that determines project success is schedule, your project schedule. As you go, you need to continually evaluate your project's progress because there will be a baseline schedule, right? And you have to work out any slippages against those baseline in a timely manner. So if coding was supposed to finish at a certain date, make sure you are continuously evaluating week on week basis to make sure that the date decided for coding completion is on target, right? You are on track to do so. And if there is any slippage, how do you make sure that the end date of the project doesn't slip, right? So things like these is what you should be working upon and making sure that the project becomes successful. I'll give you an example. The original deadline for Bangalore Metro phase one, right? We are just talking about phase one. The original deadline was March 2010. And after missing at least 9 subsequent publicly announced deadlines, the phase one metro was finally opened to public in October 2011. So do you see the slippage here? March 2010 to October 2011. That's quite a slippage, right? Almost 1.5 years. So, do you consider this project a success? Well, based on the schedule, based on the first factor, this project is definitely not successful. Now, number two is cost. Cost is a very important factor in determining whether your project was a success or not. And actually, a lot of you are going to think that cost management should actually rank first in this list, right? Out of the 5 factors that you're talking about, cost could actually be first. And it's true, it can be first as well. The thing is, just like your schedule, even for cost, you need to make sure you are evaluating as you go in the project. Look forward, right? So wherever you are in the project right now, look forward and reforecast to compare with the original budget. So you have an original budget of, let's say, X dollars, right? This is for complete project. Right now, you are 50% done. So if you're 50% done, your budget, right? Your spending should be X by 2, right? This should be your spending as of right now, as of 50% completion of the project. Do a reforecast and evaluate whether you actually stand at X by 2 and whether the remaining X by 2 is good enough for you to complete the remaining 50% of the project or not. This is something that you should be evaluating on a timely basis, continuously evaluating, just like you would evaluate your schedule. Cost is also something that you need to evaluate again and again and reforecast again and again at every milestone possibly, to make sure that you are where you stand as compared to the original budget, and to make sure that you are not going beyond the original budget. You're not overshooting on cost. Again, the metro example. So in 2006, 33 kilometer of Bangalore Metro Phase 1 work had a baseline cost of 6,395 crores. Now, due to delays and extension of metro work to 42.3 kilometer, remember there is a change in scope here from 33 kilometer to 42.3 kilometers now. The final cost of phase 1 work came out to be 14,405 crores. So from 6,000 odd to 14,000 odd crores at an addition of merely, I think, 9 kilometers, right? So an addition of 9 kilometers, your cost had gone up more than twice, more than double actually. So is cost management good in this project? Well, definitely not. Now, before discussing the remaining three factors that determine the project success, I'd like to remind you a quick reminder here, PMP book recommendations. You can go over to pmclounge.com/resources. We have listed our favorite PMP preparation books there. Number three is quality. Now, quality should be reviewed timely or at the end of each project phase or at the end of a project gate or milestone, whatever you want to call it. But quality, again, just like your schedule, just like your cost, quality is something which should also be reviewed. Quality standards should be well defined and accessible. This is something I see so many projects not follow, right? Uh, Especially the smaller projects, which a lot of project managers deliver in comparatively smaller organizations. There is no well defined quality standards, right? You're creating a website. If creation of a website is your project, the the quality standard is not well defined. Nobody told you that the website, the homepage should load in 0.05 seconds. That is not something which I personally have not seen defined in smaller projects. But in larger projects, it's definitely defined. It's definitely very, very important. And this is something which is a big, big factor to your project's success. The food is not good here. That movie is boring. This phone is really bad. That car is a work of art. Bangalore Metro is pretty crowded. Now, what do you see here? Do you think the quality standards are well defined in these examples? Of course not. They're not. The food is not good here. What do you mean by not good? What is the definition of good here? That movie is boring. Well, what is the definition of boring? On what scale is it boring? This phone is really bad. How bad? What do you mean by bad? What is the score of this phone out of 100? And how do you measure that score? Things like these make quality standards defined, and these are all bad examples of quality standards. You need to have well defined quality standards that should be measurable, so that on your projects you can measure them and you can make sure that quality wise you are delivering the best project possible. Now, stakeholders satisfaction is again something very, very important in determining um, the success of a project. You might have completed your project, but if majority of your stakeholders are not happy with the way you have completed the project or the end product of the project, then do you think your project was a success? Of course not, right? So there are so many surveys that you see out there, right? You talk about social media websites putting out surveys, you talk about random other websites putting out surveys, you have employee surveys in your workplace, you've got customer surveys. There are so many surveys out there, and they are out there for a reason. The reason is simple. Even qualitative checks, right? You're not talking about quantitative checks, right? You're not saying rate us out of 5, 1 to 5, give us a rating. We're not even talking about that. Even qualitative checks, rate us, were we good, were we bad, right? Even checks like them, they during the course of your project is worth it, right? Instead of somehow working through the project and completing it, and with only the project manager being happy, right? That is not the way to proceed on stakeholder satisfaction, for sure. So let's say you're going over the project, you're working through your project. You don't have to send out surveys that ask stakeholders to give you a rating out of 10, from 1 to 10. Rate how requirements are being met, rate how schedule is being followed, right? You don't have to do that. Even qualitative checks, right? Rate good or bad is also going to give you a good sense of stakeholder satisfaction, and that is why surveys are very, very important. It's just one way of checking how stakeholders are satisfied or not. Stakeholder satisfaction is definitely something which is a project manager's job. The presence of a high-pressure petroleum pipeline forced the Bangalore metro route to airport to be altered. The Bangalore-Mangalore petroleum pipeline has become an important stakeholder. This is a fairly recent news on the construction of Bangalore Metro, where we found out that the route to Bangalore Airport had to be changed, right? There was a plan in place, and the planned route had to be changed because there was a petroleum pipeline. So this petroleum pipeline, right? This organization, the Bangalore-Mangalore Petroleum Pipeline Organization, has become a very important stakeholder. You cannot have a Bangalore metro route in the vicinity of a high pressure petroleum pipeline. If these people, if these stakeholders were shown the original route of the metro airport, they might have, raised the concern then itself, and the plan would have not been finalized. But now we are in a position where the plan is finalized, but it had to be changed because an important stakeholder came in and they were not satisfied with the plan. Now let's talk about the final factor in the list, alignment to business case. That's number 5. Now you already know that a business case is one of the first documents that is created when a project is conceived. So how much is your project aligned to that business case? That is also a very important and major factor that determines that your project was a success. Now, cost, schedule, quality are just one part of the puzzle, right? Did your project meet the original benefits it set out for? And these benefits are usually listed in the business case. These benefits is what, the list of benefits is what justifies uh, the budget for the project, the resources to be allocated for the project, because completion of this project is going to give us certain benefits. And did your project meet the original benefits, right? That is something which is a part of the business case here. Do the problems that led to the project being conceived still exist? Are you working on something that nobody wants, right? So there could be a certain problem in the picture, and to solve that problem is why your project might have been conceived. Halfway through the project, did you do a check whether that problem still existed? Did it get worse? Did it get better? What happened? Will your project still solve that problem? Is a solution still required? That is something which you as a project manager need to definitely do a check on. Gone are the days when project managers were just responsible for cost, schedule, quality, scope, right? Delivering on time, on budget, and you're done with the project. The project is successful. No, sir, not anymore. You are responsible for benefits management as well. So that is the reason why checking stuff like these is important during the course of your project. What if people, this is an example, what if people find shared cabs a better, more convenient, and cheaper alternative to metro? So when the metro project came out, shared cabs was not even a concept. There were no Uber share cabs available in the market. But as the project was going on, as the Bangalore Metro project work was in progress, we realized that shared cabs are actually better, they are more convenient, and they are cheaper alternative to metro. Now, this is of course hypothetical. This you may not agree with it. I may not agree with it, but we are taking this example for the sake of an example that the problem you're working on should still exist during the course of your project itself, and this is something that you need to check on, you need to keep an eye on. And if the problem exists, go ahead, deliver your project. If the problem doesn't exist anymore, there is no need for a metro anymore, then maybe you will have to halt the project. You will have to go to the sponsor, explain them the situation, and halt the project. Why waste the resources, the money, the efforts of everyone when the problem doesn't even exist anymore? So what is going to happen is, if you don't halt the project and you complete the project, you will be in a situation where metro will be functional, but there will be very less users, very less commuters, because people will prefer shared cabs over metro, right? So this is something that you as a project manager is responsible for. So that is all that we had in this video. Hope you enjoyed it. Do hit the like button if you enjoyed the video. Subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon to stay notified whenever we upload a new video. And don't forget to check out the website pmclounge.com, your #1 free resource for PMP certification. Thank you.